Hey guys, this is HD.
And this is Pain User.
And we're back for the semifinals between dSeleCT and EGldra, and the winner of this game will actually go on to the grand finals of the IGN Pro League. Once again, for all you guys out there who are watching these videos, make sure to check us out. We do have YouTube channels, Pain User, youtube.com/stratbunker. My channel, youtube.com/HDStarcraft, where I do a lot of my broadcasts. Now, this is once again the finals of the semifinals, so this is a do-or-die game for both these players, and it looks like they're going to be on crevasse, man.
Yeah, it is the final game of the semifinals, and yeah, both players tied up at this point, but both of dSeleCT's wins are games where EGldra has just left the game, doesn't even want to play it out, doesn't even want to at least, you know, hold it off and possibly play from a deficit position.
You know, you gotta wonder, do you think dSeleCT is gonna try another cheese this game just to get EGldra to GG and say, I'm out?
I mean, it's possible. This wouldn't be the map to do it on, though. This map is so big and the rush distances are so long between the two bases that it makes it very difficult for any kind of rush cheese. But one thing dSeleCT can almost rest assuredly know is that EGldra will probably 14 hatch this game. If he were to proxy some Raxes or something like that, he might be able to make something like that happen, but it looks like dSeleCT is just going to go ahead and wall off his front and probably going to see a gasless fast expand out of him.
And last time he tried to do that fast expand, which was on Tal'Darim Altar, he actually went for a double gas expand and into some factory play with Hellions, which it just didn't work out that well. So you're right, maybe the gasless fast expand this time will work out much better. He's actually sending out his SCV here, presumably to do the scouting that it needs to do. And I think we're going to probably see him build the CC in his main as he's built up 300 minerals. And EGldra, like you said, almost guaranteed here, going for the 14 hatchery. And
well, luckily you do get a free expansion, somewhat free expansion on this map. Some people actually will go ahead and take their third expansion right off the bat. A lot of Zergs actually, because you do get that double gas at the third. So EGldra actually going for the safe 1 gas expansion as opposed to the quick 2 gas. I agree with this. I'm okay with that. It's safer. He doesn't really have to worry about it. Both players complaining a little bit about
they were complaining a little bit about the lag earlier. I mean, it's kind of inevitable when these players are playing from different regions and things like that. It just tends to happen. But you're right. EGldra has gone for this expansion here, which actually only has 1 gas.
Yeah, and dSeleCT just taking his free expansion immediately. That's going to be relatively safe for him. He is following it up with that double gas, so probably going to see some Hellion play again. But hopefully he could do some damage this time around and you know, maybe get a few drone kills with those Hellions. But on this map it's going to be even more difficult, I feel like, just because the ramp into the main is that much smaller, at least before those destructible rocks get taken out.
You're right. The destructible rocks actually take about half the section of the ramp off, which means that right now it's actually a normal ramp, a normal sized ramp such as Lost Temple, Shatter Temple, blah, blah, blah. But once this ramp gets destroyed, then it becomes a scrap station sized ramp, and that's much more difficult to deal with if you're the Zerg and there's Hellions coming into your main. Now, whether or not dSeleCT is going for Hellions, he is going to go for Hellions as he's got 2 gas running and his factory has now gone down. So you're right, we're probably going to see some Hellions, Pain User, and I think EGldra is just going to play the way he's been playing all game long, man. Just bulk up, become big bad EGldra, and then go out and win.
Yeah, EGldra definitely not going to change his plans. It's been working for him so far, except for the 2, I want to say fluke losses that he has so far, but I mean, there's no real way to know what would have happened in those games because they weren't played out. EGldra wasn't.
And it would be pointless of us to assume what would have actually been played out.
Yeah, exactly.
What's done is done.
Yeah, what's done is done. They are losses indeed, and that's why it's come to this final game. So right now, both players just putting it absolutely on the line. They are going to bring their absolute A game. Probably going to use builds that they are 100% comfortable with, especially on a map that's this big. It's so difficult to cheese. You can all in on this map, but there's so much time and distance for you to figure out what they're doing and gauge and prepare. And it looks like dSeleCT dropping a 3rd command center so early on. Gonna take that aggressive 3rd even before EGldra has dropped his hatchery. And I think that might pay off for him.
I have to agree with you here. This command center, because the way this map is designed, really lends itself to a macro game. Grabbing this early third orbital will allow you to meal up, SUV up, and once you feel safe, grab your third expansion. So I think that this command center will really actually pay off quite nicely for Select. And EGldra, yeah, you said he hasn't grabbed a third yet. He's actually going straight into Spire, and this is what I was expecting from EGldra. He was going to play his 2-hatch Muta style, but the negative here on this map is he does not have the 4th gas, and that is going to really hinder his ability to produce the same amount of Mutalisk that he's been producing in the last couple games.
Yeah, it really is going to hinder that, and that's also kind of a reason why I'm surprised he didn't take the double gas expansion right off the bat. A lot of players will take that 2-gas expansion right off the bat. It does leave you vulnerable, a little bit more open to Hellion harass and you know, any kind of all-ins, bunker rushes, things of that nature.
Right.
But it does get you that very important double gas, and it looks like Select's gonna lose that scouting Hellion. Maybe not, actually. Gonna go ahead and hightail it back to base, head back there and report he saw some Zerglings over at the Xel'Naga Tower.
Over and out.
Doesn't want to go back there. But Select is going to take a really early third here, and EGldra actually taking his third in the bottom right. Yeah, so a little bit risky, but I think it'll pay off as long as Select doesn't spot that.
Well, Select is only going to spot this with a random scouting Hellion, and he's almost certainly never going to send a dropship down this direction. So it will take a Hellion to scout that out. So it really is, I think, a nice hatchery. It is risky, like you said, because it's so far away from defense for the Zerg player. Now, EGldra is getting 9 Mutalisks out. That's really surprising that he was able to afford 9 Mutalisks as soon as the Spire finished, considering he only has 3 gas. So he was really stockpiling that gas for a very long time. And we'll see if Select has the necessary anti-air to deal with these mutas. It looks like 1 Thor coming out.
Yeah, he is going to start producing those Thors, and that is going to be perfect for him to deal with these Mutalisks. EGldra just gonna harass with these mutas, and one thing that these mutas are really gonna and there is no anti-air at the natural for Select, and he's gonna take a ton of damage here. He's gonna be forced to pull all those SCVs off the mineral line, and keep in mind these mutas are out at the 10-minute mark. This is a relatively early timing for mutas. I don't want to say the earliest. Mutas generally come out around, you know, between 9 minutes and 30 seconds and 12 minutes. Depending on how early they come. So this is relatively early, but certainly Select should have been ready for some kind of Mutalisk play at this point in the game.
That's actually a big blow to Select, Pain User, because he just lost a ton of SCVs there. He is now throwing down missile turrets. He lost mining time, and now look at the income tab. He's actually behind by about 5 harvesters, 7 harvesters, and that is certainly going to hurt Select in the long-term game. And EGldra is actually now destroying the rocks that connect down to this bottom right-hand expansion. This is just to be able to defend if any Hellions or any units come through this north side. He can quickly mobilize his army and protect that hatchery down to the bottom right. And I love how he's building spine crawlers here just in case of dropships.
Yeah, I love how he's building the spine crawlers. I love that he preemptively killed those rocks. To reinforce, like you said, that's just really great map awareness. And taking some heavy volleys from those Thors on the Mutalisk, but EGldra always staying active with his mutas, always continually patrolling around. And one thing that is good about having mutas and about expoing to the bottom right is that he can use those mutas to control the skies and prevent any kind of drops from getting over to that right side expansion. And it looks like Select is having a mass exodus of units to the third, sending all those SCVs, sending all of his Thors and Marines down there, building a ton of infrastructure, getting turrets up, bunkers, and he is really fortifying that third position, and it looks like EGLdra's going to come in right at the wrong time.
Oh, man, taking a pretty nasty volley from that Thor, and more Thors in the back as well. EGldra almost looking like he wanted to break through this expansion, but that almost certainly is not going to happen, not today at least, because Select has a big fortification here. Notice he doesn't even build a planetary. He's actually going gung-ho with the economy, man.
Yeah, Select is not playing around this game. He's going triple orbital. Gonna get all those mules going. Gonna try and power down and get some marine production going. But again, I feel like he's delaying that Rax infrastructure that is so necessary in this matchup, and he's delaying those combat shields and the stim once again.
Yeah, no marines to speak of, man.
And it looks like EGLdra's just gonna try and Ooh, no, not going to get the natural, but only takes a few losses there. But one thing is he continually raids that natural, and the SCV count there at the natural for Select is not very good right now.
Yeah, and he's actually spending more and more minerals on these missile turrets, but it doesn't even look like these turrets will get up in time to deal with that big flock of Mutalisks. And this has really been the name of the game. This has been the tempo that EGldra has set. These Mutalisks have really been something that Select has not been able to deal with. He's just always constantly scrambling, you know, to figure out some solution to these Mutalisks, and all the while it just seems like Marines would be the answer, but it almost seems like he doesn't want to commit to Marines for fear of infestors, or maybe it's just not his play style, and maybe mech is more of what he likes, but it really isn't working out too well because mech is so immobile when it comes to these mobile Mutalisks.
Yeah, this is a new style that I'm seeing from Select here. Generally, I mean, even earlier on in the tournament against his games with Vibe, yeah, he did a very Marine heavy style, and I don't know why he's shying away from that against EGldra. I think maybe it's
picks off the
losing
armory.
That armory with the upgrade going. That is not good for Select, and these Mutas are just having a field day. I don't know why Select doesn't just have 1 to 2 Thors. Okay, keeping all the Thors together, sending all of them to the natural, but really all he needs there is 1 Thor and a couple Marines, and that would be making a world of difference right now. But just relying only on those missile turrets is obviously not enough.
Yeah. EGldra now has actually destroyed these northern rocks now, which actually is nice for the Zerg because now it provides him an area where he can actually flank from the north and hit from the south. And if he gets a big enough Zerg army, look for him to possibly exploit that and kind of pincer the Terran army at this 3rd expansion. It looks like he's even starting to build up a pretty significant army over here towards this north side. Some Zerglings and mostly Mutalisks right now for EGldra.
And later on, when Select does finally decide to move out, which looks like it's going to be right now, he's heading towards EGLdra's natural with a pretty big ball of Thors and some siege tanks. EGldra is going to be able to use that avenue that he just cleared to backstab with Zerglings. He can hit the natural, he can hit the main, and it looks like he is hitting the natural right now with some Zerglings that he did backstab with.
Blue flame denied.
Hellions cleaning that up, and wow, Select is really just going gung-ho with this push.
Wow, this is actually really bad, I think, for EGldra. If he cannot defend this, there's a ton of Thors, and SCVs coming off the line to repair the Thors, but the SCVs getting demolished by Bailey. Still some SCVs alive. Wow, what the heck is this? Select going almost like an all-in late-game push, has pulled off a crap ton of SCVs. Now note, his SCV count really lower than the Zerg, so he actually has to kill off a hatchery or 2 in order to make this cost-effective.
One thing huge that just went down is Select lost all of his tanks unsieged. I think this would be a really different story if Select had those 5-6 tanks still alive right now, but as is, he only has these Thors and some Blue Flame Hellions. But it is still a menacing army, and he is barreling down EGLdra's front door right now. Gonna get that Greater Spire as well before any Broodlords can get out on the field. And EGldra going for the surround here. I don't know.
But he has Broodlords towards the south.
Oh, they're already out.
Yeah, they're actually gonna be able to be the equalizing factor, if not the determining factor, which will allow EGldra to win the battle.
Absolutely. EGldra sneaking those Broodlords south of his 3rd expansion. Man. I did not even see that coming, and that right there completely turned the tides of the battle.
Yeah, if it weren't for those Broodlords, EGldra would have been, I'm not even going to joke around, he would have been in a lot of trouble. He probably would have lost that game right then and there to a big mech push. But as it stands, now that Select has lost all his tanks and he's lost so many Harvesters, he is certainly behind in that exchange. Some Zerglings coming in here to further put Select in the deficit, but luckily he has Blue Flame Hellions all around the map to protect his expansions. Now, Select is certainly not out of the game yet, but it is really bleak as EGLdra's got expansions just everywhere, man.
Yeah, Select has kind of switched to this late game Thor Hellion style, and when there's Broodlords out on the field, Thors are not the unit you want to be pumping. He needs Vikings. ASAPly. And I don't think he has the infrastructure to support pumping mass Vikings right now.
ASAPly, eh?
Yep, ASAPly.
That means ASAP right away on the dot, and we need those Vikings because, man, without any anti-air support pain user, it's looking pretty grim. Hellions now getting caught by fungal growth. They just get vomited on, and that's not a pleasant day for those Hellions. More Hellions coming into this side expansion. We'll pick off a couple of drones, but EGldra already on the point with these spine crawlers, man. It's just
he's got spine crawlers at every expansion. Yeah. Still has a couple free expansions on the map that he can take, and he has full map control right now. Select really not in any kind of a situation to take a fourth, and that's really what he needs. Just now adding those 2 starports, and I think it's going to be too little too late, and I do not see his small mech army being able to deal with these Broodlords.
Oh man, Hellions versus Broodlords, not exactly the most fair of matchups.
Wow, Broodlings are quick.
Yeah, they'll catch up to anything. They are
scurrying around.
Yeah, man, they're fast little buggers. IGldra now pushing forward to what seems to be the final push here. IGldra really doesn't have much of an army, he just has some Broodlords, but that's all you need. Along with these Infestors that have recyclable energy, this is a very big army. It may not look big for Zerg, but it is big, and I don't honestly see, like you said, without Viking support, I don't see how Select can hold this off. Those Broodlords getting a little bit up to the front, and those Thors may be able to pick off 1 or 2 Broodlords. But unfortunately, Thors just don't do that bonus damage to Broodlords because they are armored.
Yeah, and the siege tanks staying sieged for a little bit too long right there, actually shelling the Thors, dealing a ton of friendly fire. And right now, these Blue Flame Hellions are going to be able to help clean up the Broodlings, but there really isn't anything to kill the Broodlords.
Well, here we go. Some Vikings coming into the mix, finally getting those double starports down. But this is what I just been waiting for. He's already got Corruptors in the back, and he hasn't even used his fungal energy. He's just waiting for Vikings. So it almost seems like even if IGldra gets, or even if Select gets anti-air, doesn't really matter. Now a cross connection of mind control just going down all over the Terran's army, and that has got to be all she wrote.
Neural parasites crossing the streams.
The neural network.
You can't cross the streams, man. You never cross the streams. And it looks like IGldra is gonna be able to take this series. I don't see Select recovering in any way, shape, or form, and it looks like we are gonna have IGldra moving on.
I will have to most likely agree with you there. I mean,
unless
I don't want to put my money down until the game has ended.
Unless Slayer's Boxer
takes control of this game. Right now, he just kicks Select off of his computer and sits down and goes at it.
Actually, strangely enough, Select is probably even more apt to hold things down in StarCraft 2. He is an amazing player, but these neural parasites just keep going down on the Thors, and it's like Select's
I thought we were friends, man.
There's mass mutiny going on in Select's army right now.
These Thors are like, I want to actually go and defect to the Zerg side because it looks like they're about to take over the Terran homeland.
Yeah, it keeps confusing me. I keep seeing all these blue Thors. It's just like, what's going on? Seems like IGLdra's the one producing all the Thors.
Yeah, it seems like IGldra just decided to switch to Terran rather than play Zerg today.
At least for the last 5 minutes of this game.
Alright, guys, so Select actually losing this game. Very well played by him, though. I don't want to take any credit away.
That one push, he almost had it with that one push.
Could almost smell
so close. He just lost all those tanks unsieged, and without the siege tanks, and well, those Broodlords.
Those Broodlords, man. I mean, even if that push had succeeded without any starports back at home, I don't really know if that push would have ended the game in the first place.
Yeah, the Broodlord timing from IGldra was very on point.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for the finals, guys. We will be coming back with the finals from the IPL. I hope everybody is excited as we are.
And IGldra will be playing in the grand finals.
Indeed, he will.
Wow, let's do it, guys. HDM Pain User signing out.